Say hello to my little friend.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my weekly review / current reads video. And so this video is where I talk about the books that I have read in the past week and basically just do reviews on them if possible, and talk about the book that I am currently reading or will be reading. So let's just begin with the first book that I read this past week, which was Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. And this book is about a 30-something-year-old woman named Bridget who is dealing with a midlife crisis, basically. Her parents are trying to set her up with guys all the time, and she's in love with her boss, and there's this other guy. If you can't already tell, I did not like this book at all. I gave it 2 stars, and that was just being generous since I didn't really finish the book, but I counted it as a read because I did my darndest to get through this book. I got about 50 to 100 pages in, and usually if I'm not into the book by then, I'll say that I can give up on it. Like the writing style, I didn't like the format with the diary type stuff, and normally I'm okay with that format, but this was really awful. I didn't really like how she wrote the diary, basically just like each day, with like how she would abbreviate certain words and stuff like that. That was just off-putting for me. I didn't like Bridget's voice. I just didn't like her personally at all. She was annoying. And take how she would know, or she would find something out with this person, and then she would still do that thing with that person, and then she'd get mad at that person for what she already knew, and it was her own choice to still do it even though she knew, and she would get mad at them and put all the blame on that person. And I'm just like, you know, you already knew this about this guy. Why would you get mad at him for something that he blatantly in your face told you that he was not gonna do it any other way? So it just really irked me. But it was a very predictable story. Oh, she goes with this guy, but then at the end she falls for the other guy, and just couldn't stand her. Couldn't stand also how there's all these extremes. Like there was extreme feminism, and then there was the extreme other side of it. You know, the extreme feminist, man hate. You know, we have to be independent. We can't let men in our lives. Blah blah blah. And then you have the other side where they're like, you have to have a guy in your life. You can't be independent at all. And you can't be happy without a guy. You have to be pushing out babies. It was so annoying. And everything about this book was just not my cup of tea. I didn't like the humor. And also, this was supposed to be like a throwback to Pride and Prejudice, and I really did not get that at all. The only person where I could kind of see one of the characters in them was Mark Darcy, and not just because of the last name, but because he really seemed to have Darcy down. Like, he was shy, he was a little bit off-putting to Bridget, and Bridget didn't really like him because of that. So that was like the only thing, so I didn't really get it at all. So I gave this book, like I said before, 2 stars. The second book that I was able to finish this week was Elusive by, I don't know, I will put the name down here somewhere. And this book is about a woman. Her name is out there in the deep depths of my brain, can't get it out, but her husband goes missing, presumed to be dead at the beginning, but then his business partner is found dead, and they start to point the finger at her, thinking that maybe she's accomplice to her husband. So she goes on the run to find out answers. Is her husband dead or alive? Is he involved or not? So at the beginning of the book, when I started reading this book, it was taking me a little bit to get into it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but once the action part actually really started, I was all in. I love crime novels. I love thrillers. If you ever watched the TV show Missing, which was only on for 1 season, I mean, it wasn't the best show, but I really did like it. This had that vibe. It was just, every time something happened, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so, like, missing. So I really enjoyed it. It was it had a real episodic feel to it, and although I had issues with her writing just because there was, like, times where she would use the wrong word in a sentence, and it kind of, like, took you out of your reading strut that was going on there. I felt that overall it was really good. It was fun. It was a fun and quick read. It was only 200 some pages long, and I had worried that we weren't going to get nowhere with it, but we did, and that's why I felt like this was very episodic, just because it was very quick, very fast. It was so fun to read. So I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, it would have gone at 5 if it hadn't been for her writing and just how long it took me to get into the story. I think she could have sped up a little bit, or just kind of given you a little bit more to the story. It didn't really feel meaty, but like I said, it was fun. Those are the 2 books that I actually finished. The book that I checked out, also Bridget Jones' Diary, was a library book, so thankfully I didn't buy that one. But the second book that I went and borrowed from the library this week was I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella, and I did not get past the first page. When I got this from the library, I realized that I was just not going for it, and I was like, why did I borrow this? But then I was like, okay, I have to try it, and I went to, like, the first page, got to the very end of it, and I was like, forget it. So this was a very no-go, and I've been having issues with Sophie Kinsella. Like, I don't know why. When I was in high school, I loved her book, Can You Keep a Secret? But now when I tried to reread it once, I just couldn't get into it. I'm going to try to reread it one more time, but I think my humor has changed, because her humor, her type of writing, everything about it is just about her writing style. It just doesn't go for me, and I feel really bad about it, because I used to really like her, but I don't know. My taste in books have changed, I guess. But this is, like, the only one that has changed for me. I don't know. Like, I don't get it at all. So this was a no-go. The book that I am currently reading at the time of making this is Anarchy and Gales by Ella Montgomery. This is a reread. As you can tell by the looks of this book, that I love it. I love this series. I love Anne. I love Marilla, Matthew, and Gilbert, and Diana, and just everything about these books. It's just fantastic. I just can't get enough of Anne and her antics, and just her story, and the way she grows up into such a beautiful woman, and the romance between her and Gilbert. Just so very wholesome, and lovely, and sweet, and beautiful. And I love the writing in this book. So much detail, but it's just not, like, overwhelming detail either. It's just brilliant and beautiful. Oh my gosh, I can't write enough of it for these books. I am halfway through. There's only 302 pages, and I'm on 138 pages in. So I should be done with this book by Friday or Saturday. It depends on how much I can get through. It's a really quick and easy read, so I'm pretty sure I can get done with this lickety split. So that was my current read / weekly review for you guys. If you've read any of the books that I have mentioned, let me down below. Tell me your thoughts about them, and I will see you in the next one. Who is